Hi, I'm Mark Paris, and today I'm speaking with Ben King, Director of Homeless to Homes. So welcome, Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you have an interesting job title.
Yes, sir.
What is that job title?
Director of Homeless to Homes.
Homeless to Homes.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means I manage, right now, I manage 9, sometimes 10 case managers who have caseloads of 15 people or a little bit more, and help them navigate, who help the clients navigate and maintain their housing.
And this housing is scattered throughout the city, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's called scattered site housing.
And what does scattered housing mean?
Scattered site housing is, we work with the county. We have Mecklenburg County vouchers in addition to other vouchers. And we do the care part of the Shelter Plus Care. And so we'll get the clients, we'll assist them into getting housing and assist them with maintaining their housing.
And what are examples of the kind of housing that they are in?
Well, it's scattered site housing, so it'd be housing throughout Mecklenburg County. It has to be within that Mecklenburg County range. You can drip into Gaston County or Cabarrus County. So the housing is strictly in Mecklenburg County, 1 or 2 bedroom apartment sites.
And you're helping your clients essentially rent space or rent a room or in someone's home.
Rents an apartment either through property managers, private owners, however we can help them identifying housing. And then once we get them in housing, we'll do the wraparound supports to help them maintain housing.
And how many people are currently in the scattered site housing program?
Currently, there's a little over 180 clients in our program.
And you mentioned case managers.
Yes.
What roles do the case managers play? What exactly do they do?
The case managers actually, they help the client, assist them with, first of all, getting into housing, identify the housing. It's tenant choice. So some people do better with single site housing, like a Moore Place, or some people do better with a scattered site housing, which is what we do. They identify the housing and then work with the client one-to-one to maintain the housing and achieve any goals that they may have.
Is this market rate rentals?
Well, what it is the clients get a voucher. The voucher has a max that we can meet, and we try to get the housing within that voucher range. We also have a housing specialist who helps us navigate and find the property managers, find the private landlords to enable the case managers to address and identify the housing for the tenants.
What are the challenges in this work?
The challenges right now, one of the biggest challenges is finding affordable housing here in Charlotte. As you know, the market has increased, and just to find that niche, find the housing for our clients to be able to afford it. That's one of the biggest challenges right now.
And are all of the people in this particular program earning income to help offset the cost of the rental rate?
That's part of the case manager's job, is to help them gain access to income. I want to say the vast majority, 85% of our clients do have income, whether it's through Social Security disability income, which is SSDI, or a Social Security income. Or some clients do work and able to maintain jobs, and housing is a big part of that because it enables to have some kind of structure. It's hard to get up and go to work and go work a job when you don't have stable housing. So in finding that stable housing, it enables them to go and work and hold down jobs and do, maintain their housing.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about some of the people who are in this program?
Well, we work with chronically homeless. So the chronically homeless, what does that look like? That looks basically like you or I. It's just people who have been a little down on their luck, who need a little assistance. There's no face to homelessness. It could be anybody. And so what we try to do is, once we identify the chronically homeless, we try to help them, like I said, gain housing and maintain housing, help them navigate through whatever goals that they have.
Scattered site housing is dependent on finding landlords who are willing to open their property up and rent them to people who are chronically homeless.
Correct.
What is the process like of trying to find landlords to participate in this program?
The one beauty we have with the landlords that we have is they know that if something happens or something goes wrong, that there's somebody who they can call. There's a case manager or a housing specialist that they can call to come assist with the tenant. That's key. There are things we have to do as an agency. We have to sometimes pay double rent or a double deposit, to landlords, or do a master lease program, knowing if a client moves from, say, scattered site to a single site, while we're getting the apartment flipped, that they will still get rent. So if it's a month to flip the unit, then they still get positive rent. So little things like that help in knowing that their property and their apartments will be taken care of.
How often do you get those kinds of calls from landlords about your clients?
Not as often as you think. The vast majority of clients come in, they want to be housed, they get with their case managers, and they do the right thing. Everybody's goals are different. Some people have goals of getting income through their disabling condition. A lot of people have the goals of reconnecting with family, reconnecting with their children that they've lost along the way, and so to reconnect that. Or sometimes it's just as simple as trying to get a primary care physician, getting on medication. As you know, if you're on the streets and you have to take medication, it's hard to navigate a pill box if you're living from pillar to post. Mm-hmm. So the case manager assists with those goals. So whatever the goals is for the tenant, that's what we work on. It's very tenant-centered.
Right. So Ben, it's one thing to provide wraparound services to people who are resident in a single site location. I imagine it's very different to provide those services to people who are scattered around the city.
Yes, sir.
How is it that you do that?
It does have its own challenges. We have challenges with scattered site that single site wouldn't have. Some of the challenges may be when somebody moves in, traffic sometimes can be an issue where you have maybe a client who has a friend who, maybe helped them out on that cold night, gave them a cigarette and maybe something to drink, and they want to move that client in. And so you have to, as a case manager, as an agency, we have to let the client know that the housing is for you and you alone. And so sometimes you just got to work with the client to identify that and work. They want to, bring their friends in, and they can't. I mean, they can have their friends over, but their friends can't come in and take over their unit.
Are your clients only individuals, or do you serve families and couples?
It's mostly individuals. Rare occasion we have some folks that have gotten married, or we've connected people with their children. And so on the rare occasion, that's where the caseload's normally 15, but it can bleed into the 16 or 17 if you add a spouse or add a child to the mix.
Per case manager?
Per case manager, yes, sir.
Okay. When you look for a case manager, what qualities do you look for in those people?
First and foremost, we look for someone who has a heart for the work. That's key. We look for somebody who most likely definitely has substance abuse background, mental health background, someone who works well within the team, someone who works very well independently and can make decisions out in the field unassisted. They have assistance, but sometimes there's decisions that you have to make, whether it's to IVC a client, meaning you have to go to the courthouse and you see the client as a threat to themselves or others, and you have to petition them. So you have to make those decisions on the fly and make them independently. And I have no problem with a case manager coming to me and tell me that they've IVC'd somebody because, they were going to harm themselves. So you have to be able to make decisions on the fly.
Ben, what brought you to this work?
Starting with outreach. I did outreach for a number of years, and just linking people to services, connecting them with case managers. Eventually, I became a case manager myself, um, adopted the housing first approach, and just basically took it from there.
And what sustains you? What keeps you going in this work?
The success stories, getting people housed, watching them thrive and become, you know, achieve their goals. Just clients that you're able to maintain jobs, clients that get access to income through SSDI or whatever, and are able to thrive and reconnect with families, reconnect with their children. And I mean, you could imagine some of the problems, some of the issues that tenants have had in the past, and working with them and just seeing them become successful and achieving their goals, going back to school, getting degrees, getting jobs, holding down jobs. Even something simple as that we take for granted, like putting together a pillbox, is huge. I mean, imagine carrying a pillbox and having to, navigate that through living outdoors, and it rains on you, and just seeing people just become successful and just achieve their goals.
Mm-hmm. If someone told you that they were interested in doing the work that you do,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell them?
I'd see if they wanted to first volunteer and get involved that way. And then if they have the passion and the love for the work, definitely inquire about any kind of positions we may have available.
Mm-hmm. What breaks your heart in this work?
What breaks my heart is sometimes some people aren't successful. You have people that we do, unfortunately, have to exit the program. What we try to do as an agency, as a program, is if that does happen, we try to leave people better than we found them. So if we have somebody who was chronically homeless and can link them to income, help them get SSI or SSDI, they weren't able to be successful in the program. But if they're exited, at least they have income and they don't have to be homeless again. They can go to a boarding house. They can exit them to a hotel or whatever is needed. They don't have to go back on the street. Mm-hmm. But it really pains me when somebody's not successful in the program.
Is there a common misunderstanding that people have about homelessness?
Definitely. The misconception that homeless people are lazy. They're lazy, and it's not true. There's a lot of people who want to work, are able to work, able to hold down jobs, but because of substance abuse issues, because of mental health issues, they just need a little assistance.
Is there a common issue that you face with people who are chronically homeless moving into rental housing?
People's transition from homelessness to housing, sometimes the transition is easy and people, really thrive immediately. And then there's some people who it takes a little while. We actually had a client one time who the first few weeks of being housed slept on their balcony because they were so used to sleeping outdoors that they had a whole apartment but chose to sleep on the balcony. And so what the case manager had to do was just assist the client, work with them slowly, let them know you have a whole apartment right here, and whenever you're ready, you're able to have that you utilize the unit. And so some people, it's a little tougher transition. If you have somebody who is used to sleeping with a lot of people in the community, and all of a sudden they get their own apartment, and the silence, and when they say silence is deafening, it can be for some people. They're used to a lot of noise around them, and the silence, can bring up other issues. So the case manager will help them address that and ease the transition.
So Ben, thank you so much for your time today and all the work that you do in our community.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.